they are my voice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worthwhile for me to take the time to do that, and so that might be something, in your program that.
Can we put a piece of a module of TDAP to make it easier for you that you would then customize, other people like yourself, that you would customize and you could take pieces of this presentation, as well as how you might modify it for your own proposals. You know what I'm saying? Sort of, here's what I'm doing, here's my research, but here is what tissue is. We would give you a background that you would then customize for how you would present to.
Actually, we have those established
Well,
at the Cancer Center.
You can share with us.
Yeah, be a good person to
And many of the tissues that I work with come through swab.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's all pretty well standardized there.
But one of the things we have to remember is that if we encourage patients to give their tissues, excess tissues that are being acquired during surgery, we don't have that many hospitals yet in this valley that have the internal procedures established. There's actually one. Second one's coming on board. 2 others are coming on board fairly soon. It's not that many.
What are the ones north?
Bannerman, Scottsdale Healthcare is coming on board. And John C. Lincoln is going to come on board. Maricopa is going to come on board. Okay, go there. Tissue has a very special mechanism that must be adhered to in a standardized procedure. Generally speaking, just to give you an idea, once the tissue is removed from the body, it has to be seen by the pathologist and what we call SAC freeze drive within 30 minutes, or it's no good. We lose a lot of the research potential. Our RNA is gone. So you must have those infrastructures in place. And I think that has been one of our concerns here, in that, and Barbara and I have discussed this at length, we want to educate the public, but if we don't have the infrastructures established for the support systems for those patients to go to their physicians at their hospitals and say, hey, I want tissue, but I'm at John C. Lincoln for the surgery. Well, they don't do it. We have just frustrated that patient even more. So that is why this dual track educational program of going to the professionals, dealing with the hospitals, the administrators, there's a cost factor. And let me tell you, it's way cheap. It's not to do all of this, process it, store it, ship it, get it to the researchers. So it's a commitment by those institutions. Getting the research coordinators, who are your first line people to approach patients on an inpatient or an outpatient basis, is a wonderful recruiting mechanism going around the PIs, because you run it. And we have a hard time getting them to sign the forms they need to sign, never mind anything else. So we have to understand that this isn't just community awareness on this. It's a multifaceted project that we're all trying to do here. So those slides that Mary-Beth is putting together must have those different audience tracks and do different kinds of programs that we do now and starting to prepare.
I don't know. I think I told these guys, I don't know if you would come in before or after, but they're color coded, like clear as for the community.
Just mention that.
I don't remember when I color coded because I did it months ago, but Yeah, because it isn't as simple as it just throwing away tissue. Although, you know, Deborah and I were talking about it with the current mechanisms for actually looking at the cells that you need with amplification, with laser capture, or whatever. It's getting less strict, because I know when I first started this, you know, we were crazy, everything had to be sterile, and, you know, it was a lot of work. And as I've talked to people over the years, things have become a lot easier in some ways in the collection process, because it's not as crazy as it's not as strict. So, because I know a couple of people who are doing collection now, and from what they've described to me and what I used to be aware of, things have changed.
I mean, a good problem like 10 years ago, and I don't know if regulations have changed since then. I'm not an expert on it. But I belong to a company called Impact, and that is currently not in existence anymore. But during this period of time, we had a division of the company called Predictive Oncology. And part of that division was to do clinical trials, supply tissue bank. So each of the reference laboratories, the diagnostics, where we did the flow cytometry, the cytogenetics, the molecular testing, were actually funnels of bone marrows, of information into predictive oncology. And what would happen, it was a spin-off of the company. It wasn't part of the diagnostic. And it was set up in such a way that the patient could be the information totally living. Because really, we used to process a lot of bone marrows. Over 30,000 at one site. So, and that's later. But it built itself up to that. And across, all that information was thrown out in garbage. And we paid to get it offsite.
It's a toxic waste.
Exactly. So biohazard waste. So we found a way, an avenue to help the patient and also produce the revenue that paid for all of that very expensive. Because a team had to be selected to take care of that in the reference lab. They couldn't it just didn't happen. So and to put together the information. So we would totally characterize the bone marrow, and it would be abnormal. So say it's an AMLM4, and it had an inverted 16 inside the United, and the flow says M4. So we would put together all the flow results, the cytogenetic results, the molecular results, and the fish results, and put together a report, send it off to predictive oncology, along with the tissue sample, without just in a, give it a number and that's it. There was no patient identifiers. And they could never backtrack to find out who that patient was. But they had, for those cells, with that too, a total diagnostic profile. And with those, we originally they were extracting the DNA and running those samples. And the RNA was a little, of course, more sensitive and timely. But then with preservatives that have come up, it became a lot more easier to be able to also be testing on those. So it was a learning process, and I was part of that probably for about 3-4 years until Genzyme took that over and they said, whoa, we don't know anything about that, forget that. And because they were mostly prenatal testing at the time and taking over an impact of division, acquiring it, that dealt with only cancer. They